Welcome to OpenCV Live. Today we have a very special episode announcing the OpenCV Perception Challenge for bin picking. This challenge is sponsored by Intrinsic and is brought to you in collaboration with our partners at the BOP Challenge and the University of Hawaii. To help us with the details of the competition, we have Wahe Tamazin, who is a senior imaging scientist at Intrinsic. Also with us is Phil Nelson, as always, who is the Director of Content and Creative at OpenCV. Phil produces this show, and if anything goes wrong, it is his fault.
You are absolutely right there, Satya. Yes, it's me. It's PHILLIP. I am your co-host with the co-most, the second banana who is second to none. I'm also your plus one and only. It's Mr. Nelson if you're nasty, but you, my dear friends, can call me Phil here on OpenCV Live, and I've got a few things to remind you of. The first of which is we are taking questions from you in the audience, and we will do our best to answer them, as the late, great Satoru Iwata would have said, directly. We're also saving time at the end of the episode for a special giveaway to you out there watching on Zoom. If you're not on Zoom, you can get there by going to opencv.live in your web browser, and it'll pop up your Zoom if you've got Zoom installed. That giveaway will be for a free OpenCV course of your choosing, so don't miss out on that in about 45 minutes. But before we get started here right away, let's talk a little bit about OpenCV. Satya, we've got some exciting news here, actually, before the exciting news, which is that OpenCV's YouTube channel is now monetized. We did it, everyone.
Yay.
I'm
100K,
gonna go
so
ahead
we
and
have a
share the
silver
screen
plaque.
here. That's right, that's right. Yeah, I'm getting a fancy plaque in the mail. It will probably go somewhere next to the banana in the background here. We hit 102K subs. Thanks so much out there to everybody that watches this show. We're working on what we're going to do for the membership program, which we can now have people on there. I think one of the things we'll probably do is give people DRM-free HD downloads of the show. That might be a nice thing to get people to subscribe for, but maybe some merch discounts, things like that. If you have any thoughts, please send us a note at newsletter@opencv.org. We'd love to hear them. You can also now buy our OpenCV merch straight on the YouTube channel, so you can see all of the cool stuff we've got here. I kind of want one of the Yoamo OpenCV tie-dye shirts. They're pretty cool. Also, we've got unisex baseball raglan tees. We've got these kind of athletic football style ones. These are pretty cool. Look for these coming to you at a CVPR near you. Also, OpenCV is a nonprofit organization, and as such, we depend on the support of people like you and our members and partners. You can see our current partners right here, and we do love and appreciate them all so very much. Also, one of the ways you can support OpenCV is by taking courses. Doc, you want to talk a little bit about why these courses are so great?
Yeah, I mean, if people, especially programmers, if you have a programming background, if you want to switch your career to AI and computer vision in particular, then we have a collection of courses. We have some discounts going on. We like to reward people who take the course and are doing well in it, right? So we have something called a 100-day challenge. If you finish a course in 100 days, then you get $100 back from the total, and you can do it for 5 courses, getting back $500. So that's our thing. Now, this is for people who are serious about a career in AI. This is not, it's not for dabblers. So if you are one of those people who really want to dive into AI, check out our courses, and we have some discounts going on right now.
Yeah, good luck out there, everybody. As Satya said, these are serious courses. These are not something that you're going to be able to accomplish in like a weekend or something. This is work. This is labor. But at the end of it, you will know what you're doing, and that's something that not many people can say in this world. So I hope you folks enjoy that. There's other ways to support OpenCV. You can go to github.com/sponsors/OpenCV. We've got a few on there, but I think now is a good time to just get started with the show. Back to you, Satya.
Well, there's an interesting question I just saw. What exactly do the 3 horseshoe-shaped red, blue, and green links represent in the logo? Well, I'll let you figure that out. We'll give you the answer by the end of this episode, but for now, I will let you figure it out. All right, so we are ready to start the episode. Vahe, why don't you give us a short introduction about yourself, and then we will discuss the challenge itself using slides.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Satya. Super excited to be here. My name is Vahe. I'm a senior imaging scientist at Intrinsic. Intrinsic is an Alphabet company that builds this platform for robotics, and I'm working in the R&D team here, helping with various algorithms, AI algorithms, to improve the perception of, like, basically helping robots see what they pick and how they navigate in the world. My background is mostly in computer vision and a little bit of physics, so I enjoy both parts of this, basically.
Awesome.
Love to hear that. Yes, as always, I am the both least educated and least impressive person on my own show. But let me go ahead and share the screen here, and we'll talk a bit about this challenge. I'm really excited about it. It's been a bit of a long time coming, but I think it's going to be worth it. Before we do the proper slides, actually, I will just share a short video that I've created. Where's that little checkbox on Zoom? Man, Zoom keeps moving stuff around just enough that it throws
It's at
me
the bottom
off, you know?
usually.
Yeah, they moved it to the right side now. Share sound.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, I got it. All right, let's give it a try. Can you all see that? Should be a black screen currently.
Yeah, it's a black screen.
Are you ready for a challenge? The OpenCV Perception Challenge for bin picking starts now, offering $60,000 in prizes to innovators in AI, robotics, and computer vision. This competition tasks teams with creating a solution to sort and place objects accurately using computer vision and AI. What's on the line? $60,000 in cash and prizes, but that's not all. The top teams will have their solutions showcased in an official workshop at CVPR 2025. Sponsored by Intrinsic, BOP, Orbic, and University of Hawaii at Manoa, this challenge is a unique opportunity to make an impact on the future of robotics. Submissions open February 1st, and signups are open right now, so don't miss this chance. Visit bpc.opencv.org to register today. All right, so there was our quick little teaser video there. And
That's
now
an
I will
awesome
share
video,
some
Phil.
slides.
Except
Oh,
except for one tiny detail,
yeah.
the sphere. The sphere has no pose. So
that would be a tough one, right? That would be a really tough one. Okay, fair point. Okay, I'm going to move this to a different screen here. One moment.
And Phil also designed this logo, which I absolutely love.
I did. I'm really glad that you like it. It was one of those. It came to me in the shower. I was like, hey, they're servos, right? Okay, let me reshare my screen. OpenCV. There we go. Should be able to hit slideshow now. All right, how's that look, everybody? Yeah?
That's awesome.
Good? Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody, it's here. We're calling it the Perception Challenge for bin picking. It's in concert with our friends at
Phil, I think you shared the wrong screen. We still see the
yeah, it's
interface.
weird again.
Can we do full screen?
You'd think that Google would figure out how to make it so slides share on Zoom reliably, like at least 60% of the time. All right, I'll share the.
I guess Google answer is go to Google Meet, right?
Right, exactly.
That's
oh
right.
Man, you got it. Okay, how about that? Is that better?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
Much
fantastic. So we're calling it the Perception Challenge for bin picking, and we could not do it without our sponsors and partners here. Intrinsic is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here, and thanks so much to them. Yes, the Perception Challenge for bin picking logo. Maybe we'll make some stickers to hand out at CVPR. That'd be kind of fun. As we already talked about in this episode, you've got me. You're not. You are trapped in here with me. We've also got Vahe. We've got the ever stalwart Satya Malik. We watched the launch video already. We'll just skip ahead a little bit. 60K in prizes. We'll talk a little bit more about the prize distribution and how that breaks down. Long story short, the top 10 teams will get something, and there'll be a special prize for the best one-shot solution, but we'll dig into that a little bit more in a moment. And these are, of course, our generous sponsors, Intrinsic, BOP, Orbic, and University of Hawaii at Manoa. We really appreciate them for stepping up here. Of course, use that BPC 2025 hashtag if you are posting on social media about this or looking for a team. Thoughts on, Vahe, you want to talk a little bit about our sponsors here, like BOP? I know they're pretty well known in this space. Can you give a little bit of insight there?
Sure. So we already mentioned Intrinsic. Intrinsic is the company I'm working with. It's the platform for robotics, industrial robotics. BOP is an organization that runs the challenges for 6DoF pose estimation, which is basically the key task in this challenge. BOP has been running these challenges for a few years already, and they're running these as a tool for research community to benchmark yourself. And we're partnering with BOP because our data and our evaluation process is going to be structured along with BOP standards, and the team from BOP is helping us with that. University of Hawaii is also helping us with setting up the baseline solutions for the participants, the evaluation pipeline, and providing some tech support. And Orbic is a 3D vision company, but I think Satya will be able to give a better background here.
Yeah, they make 3D cameras like this. In fact, Microsoft Kinect, that no longer exists. It's actually Orbic has taken over that project, and they basically provide 3D cameras.
Yes, that's right. Well, man, I did you guys see this? Speaking of which, did you see this morning about RealSense?
I did not.
Intel is spinning out RealSense.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, to its own company. Speaking of 3D cameras there, just some breaking news here I saw just glancing at LinkedIn. But let's continue with the presentation, shall we?
Yeah.
So the prizes, I know this is what people are super interested in. 6th through 10th place teams will each get $1,000. Satya or Vahe, can you talk a little bit about the makeups of the teams? I think we decided on up to 10 participants per team. Is that correct? Yeah.
I think the guidelines are up to 5, but
Was it 5 or 10?
Check that.
Okay.
The final guidelines will be on the website. But basically, yeah, the people can register the teams. With multiple participants, and the submissions will be per team. So there's no need to submit solutions personally. You can find team members and solve this problem together. And then the teams will be evaluated in the end.
Right.
And as Phil mentioned, the top 10 teams are going to get the prizes.
That's right. And we'll
One other
also
thing,
provide some more places for you to look for teams and chat. We've got a special Slack channel set up on the official OpenCV Slack, as well as an official forum category in the OpenCV forum. Go ahead, Satya.
Yeah, so one other thing I wanted to mention, as compared to previous challenges, here there is an evaluation. It's like when you submit your solution, we will evaluate your solution, and there would be a leaderboard in the later part of the competition.
Right.
Now, to keep it fair, please make sure that when you register with your, either if you're participating as a company, use your company email address. If you're participating as a university, use your university email address. Even others, right? It is fine if you're just collecting, a group of friends are coming together, you can use Gmail or whatever, but please make sure that you do not use multiple submissions, right? I mean, that is not going to be fair to everybody. So use a single team and use the same account for resubmitting, because that is one thing. If we there are several things in place which will tell us if somebody is reusing accounts or using different accounts to make multiple submissions. And if we find out, then there are no prizes for that team. That is instant disqualification.
Yes, we will also publicly shame you. It will be very embarrassing.
No, we won't. But yes, it's.
I will publicly shame you.
Yeah.
Yes.
big prizes
So
now.
let's talk some more about the prizes here and we'll get a little bit more into the evaluation as well.
Yeah.
So, the finalists teams: third place, $8,000; fourth place, $4,000; fifth place, $3,000. Again, this is split between the team members, which maybe encourages smaller teams. I think it's a lot nicer to split $3,000 three ways than five, but maybe that's just me. Special prize for the best one-shot solution. Can you explain a little bit to the folks that maybe aren't familiar what that entails?
Actually,
Sure.
Vahe, it would be a good idea at this point to just describe the problem, because for a lot of people they will not. I mean, it's not obvious what the challenge is about. So let's describe the problem first, and then say what are the various stages, and then yeah.
Yep,
And
sounds good. So the challenge name is Challenge for Beam Picking, right? So I guess it's a good idea to start from what beam picking is. Beam picking is the process of picking the object from a bin or from any place with using the industrial robot. Industrial robot is basically a robot arm, right? Which has some gripper and it tries to pick the object. Now the question is, if you want to pick something, what do you need to know about that something to have a successful pick? There are multiple things you need to know, but one very basic thing is you need to know where that object is, right? You need to understand how that object is placed with respect to the robot, so that the robot can then plan how to move towards that object and pick it. And that's exactly what the challenge is here. Identifying the poses of the objects in the space, a bunch of predefined poses, is what participants will need to solve. And now this may sound not that challenging, but it actually is. It's a very big challenge in the industry, especially when you're dealing with some challenging materials, with, let's say, transparent objects. So the goal is basically to find the so-called 6 DOF poses. It's 6 degrees of freedom poses, which is the position in the space and then the orientation of the object for a bunch of objects in the scene. And what we're going to provide to participants is a set of scenes. Each scene is basically a number of images from a bunch of cameras, including like basic RGB cameras and depth cameras and polarization cameras. So basically, you have a bunch of images for the same objects in the scene, and you have CAD models of the objects we want to identify within this scene. And what participants need to be able to do is they need to train models that will detect these objects and find the poses of these objects in the scene. Like 6D objects, 6D poses of the objects, and they'll return these poses to us, and then we'll be able to evaluate them against ground truth or against some metrics that we have. That's the challenge, and then the
And
one-shot part of it is
I can give a example of this
sure.
this thing, right? So just imagine
Yeah.
that this is the object, right? And there could be several objects. Think about like a collection of objects on a table or in a bin, right?
Different
And the
shapes,
idea
different
is,
colors,
yeah,
yeah.
the object could be anything. And the idea is that, okay, so let's say this is the object, the gripper, right? The gripper, when it wants to grip it, it needs to know the pose, right? Where it is located in space, XYZ, that is 3 degrees, and then how it's oriented in space, which is 3 more degrees, right? And once it knows that, then it is able to plan that, okay, I want to grip it like this. Let's say maybe this is the right way to grip it, and then pick it up, right? So that is the main problem. Yeah. What is the pose of this object in a very noisy environment? It could be anything. We do have the 3D CAD model for the objects that we are going to show, but these objects are industrial objects, and they are not, they could be very reflective. They could be, very oddly shaped. So it's not an easy challenge compared to, I would say that this is the hardest OpenCV challenge ever. It's very technical, but we are also going to give you some base code. We are putting together some base code that we will release, and you can build on top of it, right? And we'll give you, the reason we are actually doing it this early, the challenge actually begins on February 1st. But the reason we are doing it this early is so that we can give you all the material to go over, and you can learn about this competition, about the problem, as well as what are the state-of-the-art solutions currently for this solution. Yeah. So why don't you tell us about the one-shot solution?
Yeah, thank you, Satya. That was a perfect demonstration of the problem. So there are multiple ways how you can solve this problem, right? Since we provide the CAD models for the objects, and we're going to have 10 objects in the initial like phase 1 test data set. These are like 10 predefined objects, and for each object, we're going to be providing the CAD model of that object. Like one way to solve this problem is to train algorithms per object, right? You can train a separate model for each object, and then have like 10 different models working for like every separate object. That's a totally viable solution. You can go that way, that with that path in this competition. We're like completely fine with that, and all the state-of-the-art methods, like the best performing methods, are usually doing something like that. However, there is another track here which we find very exciting, and the industry overall is moving towards that direction, which is using so-called one-shot solution, where instead of training separate models for each object, you're training just one model that will work on everything. It's more challenging. If someone manages to get best results with one shot, that would be amazing. That would be very interesting for us. We expect one shot solution to be overall slightly worse than the best solutions. However, we still want to see one shot solutions submitting their results to this challenge. We want to see them within this challenge. That's why we have the special prize for the best one shot solution. The best solution that's going to have just one model working for every object in the data set.
Right. But it doesn't mean that you only have one image or something like that. It just means that there is one model.
Exactly. So the input data is going to be the exact same for every approach here. It's just the number of models basically that you're going to use to solve the problem.
Right.
That makes sense. Yes, I'll get back to the slides here if I can find them. There they are. So yeah, let's finish talking about these prizes, shall we?
So one other thing I wanted to discuss, Vahe, was so we will have a baseline solution, obviously, which people can build over, right? You will get the code and everything, and you can build over. Is there any restriction on how much time the solution takes? Does it need to be, can it take an hour, right, to figure out the pose? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So the thing is that the part of the data set that is used to evaluate the submissions is huge. There are like almost 1,000 scenes there, and each scene has like a number of objects placed there with a bunch of images from different cameras. So we can't really have 1 hour per scene of processing. That'll take forever for every submission.
How many lakes do we want to boil for this competition is the question.
Exactly, for a single submission in the competition, right? And then we expect a ton of submissions. Every team can submit multiple times. So that's why we restrict the inference time per submission to be 12 hours on a specific GPU that is going to be used for the evaluation. So this challenge is so-called code submission challenge, meaning the participants will need to submit the Docker containers, and we'll provide the structure, like we'll provide the default Docker container which people can start building on top of. And that means that every time people submit something, we'll run the code and the models that they developed. We'll supply the images to these container, and we'll expect the container to output the poses. And that's going to take a while, obviously. That's why we restrict the overall runtime of the submission, and then it's up to the participants to decide how exactly are they going to navigate within this 12 hours constraint.
Right. So that's a very good thing to know. The other question is, so we just mentioned that we are going to the submission would be in the form of a Docker container, right? So we are going to give a sample Docker container also. So in that you'll have an API which and we will interact with your container via this API, right? We don't, you don't have to open source it, but you have to put everything in the container so that we can try it out, right? And of course, all these things will be removed after the competition, but for evaluation, for making sure that it is, you know, it is, for us to evaluate, we need everything in a containerized way. And we'll tell you everything, how to do it. We'll also provide you a sample container. You can simply replace your model in that container, and things will be fine, right? But it's a very serious competition. And also, you get to present at CVPR. The top people who get selected, they will be invited to present at the CVPR workshop, which is pretty
A
awesome.
big deal. Looks great on your resume.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
And,
awesome on your resume.
and there's one more very important thing about the container part, which is one of the reasons why we expect people to submit containers is because there's going to be an elite phase, as we call it, of the competition, which is actually going to define what is the final ranking of the solutions. And that elite phase is going to be evaluating the solutions of the participants, not just on some pre-captured images and the prepared data set that we have already, but evaluating it on the actual real robot. So we'll have a real robot set up here with the parts that are going to be used in the competition. And for the best solutions, we'll deploy the solution on that robot, and we'll let the robot pick the actual real physical parts. And that would be the main judge, basically, of how good is the solution for picking the objects.
The
Yes,
more
so there
important
are
judge
two
will
phases.
be the more important judge will be me, who will be judging your team names.
Right. So there are two phases, right? In phase one, we are just going after the metric, right? We have a metric of how good your solution is, but I mean, these are very well tested metrics, and we believe in them. But again, in the real world robotics, you have to have a real robot do the task. So ultimately, it will be judged on a real robotic arm. You will have access to the real robotic arm thanks to Intrinsic. It's a lot of work on their part that they are doing so that this access is available, and your code would run on a real robot, and it will do the bin picking, and that's what would be the second phase, and that's where we will decide the first prizes, right? The top prizes. It is
The
not
elite
just
phase.
the elite phase. That's right. All right. So that's great. Phil, we can go over the
Yeah.
prizes now again.
Let's get back to those prizes, shall we? So yeah, folks, some of you have already been asking where can I go to find teammates and start on this already. The best place to do that is the official OpenCV community Slack server. I've posted links in all of the various chat platforms here. There's also a link on the official competition webpage at the top of the page there. I see a
It may
bunch
also
of
be
you.
very useful for people to go and check out the BOP Challenge 2024.
Yes, agreed.
Because that's a very similar competition. They did not have a physical robot piece, but theoretically, it's a very similar
Yeah,
problem.
I dropped the link in the chat for folks for the BOP benchmark for 6D object pose estimation challenge for 2024 in the chat there. And now I will reshare my slides. All right, there we go. Y'all see that?
Yep.
Cool. As always, we are taking questions from you in the audience. Please use the Zoom Q&A button at the bottom of the screen to ask your question at any time if you're on Zoom, or if you're watching on LinkedIn or YouTube, just ask your question in the chat or use the YouTube questions functionality, and we will do our best to answer those questions here live. If we don't get to them live, we can answer them over email. If you don't get an answer today, send us an email to newsletter@opencv.org. So yes, $10,000 for the best one-shot solution. We described why that one is sort of important. It's expected that these solutions will be more difficult, essentially, to do well. Next up is the grand prizes. Grand prize winning team will win $18,000, and the grand prize runner-up will win $12,000. That is some serious walking around money, folks. A life-changing amount of money in many parts of the world, including the part I'm in right now. I could use that money. Unfortunately, I cannot win a prize, and that's something we should discuss here on the webinar. If you are affiliated in any way with any of our sponsors, OpenCV, BOP, Intrinsic, any Google Alphabet portfolio company, the University of Hawaii, and Orbic, you can still participate in the competition. You may still, place highly, but you will not be able to win any prizes. It's the only way we can keep it fair. So sorry to burst your bubble, all the Alphabet affiliated folks out there watching. Vahe, you can't win. You can't win.
Yeah. So, but we do encourage people from all these organizations to participate because, first of all, it's a prestigious thing. We will still, if everything is done fairly, we will still, show that okay, this was doing very well, right?
Yeah,
You'll
you can
the
show
leader,
who had the best solution is not going to change based on if they get paid or not.
right? But they will not win the prizes.
That's right. We talked a little bit more about the task already and shared some example of the previous BOP challenge, which is a little less cool than this one because it does not have a real robot arm, which is to me the selling point. We've been trying to get robot arms on this show for years now, and we've finally achieved the task. Next one, we're gonna duct tape a knife to it. That's my next goal. Let's talk a little bit about the timeline, shall we?
One other thing, this is a question for Vahe. Does ultimately this thing will run on a robot? Do people need to know anything about the robot, or Intrinsic will take care of it as long as the Docker container works? This this can be done. Will they actually interact with the robot, and will they have any chance to improve based on what they see, how the robot is performing?
Thanks, Satya. That's a great question, and that's a segue, I guess, to Intrinsic's product, which is called Flow State, and it basically enables the participants of not caring about the robot at all. They can just worry about getting the best possible poses for the objects they can get, and Flow State will take care of everything else, connecting the participants' outputs to the robot's world, doing all the motion planning for the robot, estimating how the part should be grasped, and doing the actual grasping, controlling the robot. Everything is managed by Flow State. So basically, we really wanted to make this challenge as constrained as possible for the participants, because even just pose estimation task alone is already a very challenging task. And we don't want participants to also start worrying about the motion planning and all the other very complicated parts of the robot control. So basically, Flow State will take care of that. Participants should just focus on getting the best possible poses. And regarding iterating on the robot, we don't yet plan to enable any iteration on the robot. Basically, the best submission you'll have will be used to be evaluated on the robot. And one of the reasons for that is because we want to show this connection between what numbers and what results can you get on these data sets, pre-captured data sets, where you're just evaluated based on the accuracy of your pose, versus how these can be translated to the actual real world, where you have a real task of grasping the object. We're also actually curious ourselves whether the rankings will be changed at that point. This is a learning experience for us as well.
Right. Yeah, that's a very good point, that we don't know the answers ourselves. These metrics, they have been evaluated on real robots, and that's what the metrics have come from. But there could be surprises, right? So will people have access to the Flow State software when they in the final stage, in the elite stage?
No, and they don't need to. We can provide the access per request for learning purposes for the people.
Yeah.
But there is no need for participants to work with Flow State, just because the Dockerized container that we're going to provide is going to be capable of working directly with Flow State already.
All right. That's simplifies things quite a bit.
Yeah, extremely cool piece of software here, Flow State. I must admit I was not familiar with it before we started this competition, but I understand why people like it now. It takes a lot of the headache away. Obviously, not the whole headache because you still have to do work at some point. But yes, back to our slides. And
I
yes,
thought AI
folks.
was going to do it for us. The work.
No, it just makes the headache slightly different. Yeah. You can kind of pinpoint what part of your brain
Right.
hurts now with AI. As a reminder, folks, we are taking questions from you in the audience. Please post them wherever you're watching or use the Zoom Q&A button. We've got one here. Maria Brunet asked, I would like to find a team to collaborate for the challenge. How can I do that? The best place to do that is on OpenCV's official forum and Slack channel. Also, maybe we'll do a thread on the official subreddit for OpenCV as well. Just to try to, we want to hook people up, but the more teams there are and the more people trying for this, the more fun it will be for everybody. So
Right.
let's go ahead and.
So one question I see from the audience is, do we have any related content on this competition at OpenCV University courses?
Great question.
Unfortunately, the duration of the competition will not allow you to finish the courses, and the courses would provide only a let's say you would get educated 30% on this. The bulk is very researchy, right? We can, if you go to the BOP competition page, you will see what other submissions look like. Many of these submissions have papers associated with them, and you'll have to read those papers to understand the complexity as well as how the current solutions work. And also, when we release our sample code, you will be able to study that sample code and figure out what the problem is and how it is currently solved. So again, this is cutting edge research stuff, and it is you cannot take a course right now to get to the top of the leaderboard, right? You have to read papers, and then you have to understand the code that is publicly out there, right? So it's very cutting edge stuff.
This is our most hard science competition, I would say. Like this is the real stuff. It's less. Now, to be clear, folks, this will probably not be the only OpenCV competition this year, so stay tuned for more about that later. It is, however, the newest and current OpenCV competition. Let's get back to these slides, shall we? So we've got a timeline for the competition up on the screen here. You ought to be able to see that, yeah?
Yep.
So the competition officially begins February 1st, and by that we mean that is when teams will be able to submit their solutions for the first time. Registration is open right now. You can go to bpc.opencv.org. I see about a few of you have signed up already. It looks like things are working. That's a weight off my mind. How about you? Vahe? You feeling good about it?
Definitely.
May 1st, the top five, the elites will be announced, the top 5 teams, and then we'll continue competing against each other. We'll also have another OpenCV webinar with the elite teams, culminating in the big final winners being awarded at CVPR 2025 workshop. We talked a bit about the workshop, but maybe I feel like a lot of the audience probably has never been to a CVPR before and has probably never participated in a workshop before. I know, Satya, you have. I'm not sure about Vahe, but can you two maybe talk to the folks a little bit about what that's like?
Vahe, you want to go?
Sure. I mean, CVPR is basically the biggest computer vision conference out there. It has grown tremendously over the years. Last year, I've been there. It was in Seattle. It had, not sure, probably over 10,000 participants.
Yeah,
ton
it
of
was over
companies.
10K.
Yeah, like very exciting presentations. Basically, most of the top researchers in computer vision and AI are visiting CVPR every year. And workshops is like one of the sections of the competition where they're like basically different presentations grouped under the same topic. And this year at CVPR 2025, we have the workshop on perception for industrial robotics and automation, held by Intrinsic, OpenCV, and a few other parties. Like we're helping to organize this workshop. And as part of this workshop, we'll be presenting the results of this challenge, and we'll give the time slots for the top teams to present their solutions. And this is an amazing opportunity. So for people to understand, only 1 out of 4 submitted papers to CVPR get accepted, even though people usually submit their best work to CVPR as a conference, but only 1 paper out of 4 gets accepted. So having a chance to present at CVPR your solution is like it's a great opportunity.
This is, tip-top level stuff. The vast majority of people in this industry will never have this opportunity. So, best of luck to all out there.
It's so prestigious. I mean, 1 in 4 doesn't quite capture because people don't even submit if the work is not top class. They will not even submit to CVPR because they have no chance, right?
Yeah, that 1 in 4 is the 1 out of 1,000. Like it's yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it has gotten really competitive. It's really, I mean, if you can get through this workshop in the top, this is, it can be career changing for a lot of people. If you say that one of the top 10 slots at this challenge, the bin picking challenge, it can change your career. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating this. This is very prestigious conference and very the BOP itself, right? The BOP challenge itself has a very long track record, and it is very prestigious to be part of this, and it can change your career for sure.
Yeah, very well respected stuff.
Yep.
Within the industry for sure. This is, I mean, in a way, we just had like the Academy Awards and stuff like that. This is kind of like that for computer vision and AI.
Yep.
It's not an exaggeration for me to say that. We've got one about one of our viewers every single week has the question: will all 5 teams, the top 5 teams, be invited to CVPR, or only the first grand prize winner? That is a good question. Go ahead, Vahe.
Yeah, I can comment on that. I think the current plan is that we're going to give 2 slots for the first 2 teams from the challenge, and then we're also going to give additional 1 slot for the team that gets the best result on the BOP benchmark. So BOP runs their own benchmark, which is going to have our data also included there. And participants are encouraged to submit not just to the challenge that we're running, but also to BOP, just to get their solution being benchmarked against like the state-of-the-art solutions out there. So one of these slots will go to BOP, and then 2 top teams in the challenge will have the opportunity to present. We may give more slots. This will be decided a little bit later, but current plan is like that.
Thanks for that context there, Vahe. Yes, this year CVPR is in Nashville, Tennessee. I've never actually been to Nashville, so that will be as a something of a musician myself. It will be exciting to be in Music City and see some of the history and stuff there. We'll see my brother and my nephew Henry, who is a very good musician in his own right, Hank Nelson. Have visit that part of the country every year, so maybe they'll come this time, and you can hear Henry play the guitar for you. I think it would be a lot of fun for everybody. Well, maybe we'll have Hank write us a song about robot arms in the style of like Woody Guthrie or something like that, or Hank Williams. So we're also going to have another live webinar about this in a few months, so stay tuned for that. The CVPR workshop, the top teams we featured in an official workshop, CVPR, as we've been talking about, super prestigious. Most people you'll ever work with in your career will not have this opportunity or have that on their resume, so it makes you look pretty damn good. We talked a bit about the evaluation criteria. Can we kind of have a quick summarization here so I can clip it for later, maybe, Vahe?
Sure. To not overcomplicate things here, basically what are we going to evaluate is the accuracy of the poses that participants predict. You provide us with the pose, which, as Satya mentioned, is a 6D vector, like 3 XYZ coordinates, and then 3 angles for the rotation for each part. and there are like thousands of parts in the data set. And then for each of these parts, we measure so-called MSSD metric, which is the furthest distance between point from your prediction and the ground truth point, as well as whether you actually were able to detect the part or not. So precision and recall are coming there. So these are going to be the key metrics: the precision and recall, whether the part is detected at all or not, and then how accurately the part was predicted by using the MSSD.
Right.
Well said. Any more context there, Satya, on your side?
Well, there's a paper. Unfortunately, I don't have the link to the paper, but we can. So there's a paper that describes MSSD in detail, and also how the data was collected. It's a fascinating paper. You know, the level of accuracy you need. It's if I'm not wrong, sub-millimeter level accuracy, or at least millimeter level accuracy. And the way it is collected, right? Because it's not easy. It is not easy. And this is not synthetic data. This is real data. And you have to find the pose. So the ground truth, the way the ground truth is collected, it needs to be more accurate, right, than any evaluation, any model that you train. And that paper, why do you have the paper? Otherwise, we'll send it out in the newsletter.
I believe it's
That
linked
paper is
on the
fascinating
web
to read.
page. I think it's linked on the web page.
All right.
I'll
So
also
that's
share the link in the chat.
yeah.
Thank you. Yes. And so, people have been asking this all show, with about 9 minutes left. How do you participate? Well, the first thing you need to do is go register, bpc.opencv.org. That's BPC, Bin Picking Challenge.opencv.org. This is a team-based competition, and so you'll want to go on the Slack channel, which I have dropped the link in the chat for. You can also scan that QR code to find the webpage. There's also the official OpenCV forum category, which I've linked in the chats here. And there will be some more information about, again, templates for how to submit this stuff, some more examples, and of course the data sets and things like that will be available soon. As we said, the actual submission time begins February 1st. And so you've got a few weeks to find some friends, some collaborators, and start working together to make something extremely cool. Please give your teams interesting names, because I will read them. We will talk about these on the show, and if you want to stand out, come up with something cool, but not too cool. Yeah. Thoughts on the competition, just kind of wrapping this up before we do our trivia and then some more Q&A from the audience. Satya and Vahe, we've got a bunch of really good questions here in the various chats. So I think we can just move on, unless you've got some more final thoughts on some advice for participants.
Yeah. So, well, one thing I want to say is that this is the first time we are using a platform called Eval AI. This is so that we can actually use the Docker container for submissions. And, this is a new platform for us, and we are figuring out things. So if you find things which are not working perfectly, please let us know. We want to fix all these little bugs here and there might be there before the challenge begins, and any help would be greatly appreciated.
And like on this show, if anything goes wrong with the website, it's my fault. But any thoughts for participants here? Final thoughts, Vahe?
I just want to wish good luck to everyone. I'm really looking forward to great, interesting ideas into how to solve these problems that we're going to post there. And I really encourage people to first check the template solution that Satya mentioned that we're going to post, and also to check the BOP website and see what are some of the state-of-the-art methods. A lot of state-of-the-art methods open source their code, so you actually have a lot of baseline code available that you can start building on top of. And I encourage people to just look at that. This is also a great learning opportunity for a lot of people.
Right. And yeah, so that I just want to build a little bit on that thought that even if you think that you don't know the problem statement and it is difficult for you to win, this could be an very good way to get started, right? To build on the solution, because you'll be reading papers, you'll be building it out yourself, and because we have this Slack channel, you could be discussing with other people. So the easiest way, this is like condensed form of learning for you. If you're interested in this problem, and if you're interested in robotics in general, this is a very interesting, very important problem. And especially for people who are students in robotics or students in computer vision, this is one of the challenging problems out there. And this can, as I said, this can transform your career. Even if you don't win, this could be a very good learning experience, because you are literally, talking to other teams, experts in the field, etc. And it can really help you develop an expertise in this area, even if you don't win.
And
So
also contacts. I mean, one of the things that I think a lot of people underestimate, today, especially because it's a lot easier to do a lot by yourself, I think, because of the way that these tools work. Who you know is still a huge part of being successful in any career. And it's not just knowing the tip-top people, it's having friends and acquaintances and coworkers in the industry, in the field. Because, I mean, in my case, I don't know if this is true for you two as well, but in my case, almost every single job, in fact, yes, every single job I've gotten for the last 20 years has been from a friend or a friend of a friend or an old coworker that said, oh, Phil's great at this stuff. Like, you can do the thing where you apply to 15,000 jobs using some AI thing, or you can go talk to some people and make some friends. Like, I think the second one is a lot more, is just a lot better for your mental health and also probably a lot better for your career.
right.
So,
And the ideas, sometimes in your submission, you could have hit on an idea that other people missed, right? People who have been in the field for a long time, they have a certain way of thinking. And when new eyes fall on the problem, you may hit on a new way of thinking about something. Even if you don't win, that idea, somebody can take and develop that even further, right? So there are lots of benefits if you join this competition. It's going to be great for your career.
absolutely agree. So with about 5 minutes left, let's do our trivia giveaway, and then I think we'll save time for a couple more questions here.
Yeah.
So, in case you need a little reminder out there, folks, one of the things we do on this show is give away something to you in the audience absolutely free. Most of the time, such as this week, it is an OpenCV University course. You can go to opencv.org/university to see what courses are on offer. Even if you don't win the trivia giveaway here, there's a great deal going on right now. I think, was it 25% off, Sandia? It's pretty
Yep.
sweet deal on these industrial strength courses. So go check that out, opencv.org/university. The way this works is I am going to ask a question based on the presentation and discussion here today, and the very first person to answer that question in the Zoom chat window with messages set to everyone, and not just hosts and panelists. Messages have to be sent to everyone so we can prove that you were the one that won. You will win the course of your choosing. So go check out those courses. If you have won in the last couple of months, please don't answer and give someone else a chance to win. I'm talking to you, Partha. So earlier in the show, we talked about one of the metrics we'll be using for the evaluation here. It's called MSSD, but what does that stand for? What does MSSD stand for? Ooh. See, I got them. They thought they had me on this one.
This is rare.
That's right. You're close there.
Now people are they will come up with a solution.
You got to do the whole thing. Oh, you're close. You're close. No, wow. Modesto Special Science District. No, that's incorrect, Seth. Multi-scale single. These are good answers, but you're all wrong. You're all wrong. Oh, we
Maximum
got one. We got
aware.
one. Philip Ha.
Yeah.
The answer that we were looking for was maximum symmetry aware surface distance. Philip, you were missing a hyphen there, but we will give it to you because I'm feeling good about myself for almost stumping the chat. So thank you, Philip. Please send one email to phil@opencv.org after you go to opencv.org/university, look at the courses, pick one, send me the name of it, and we will make sure that you get that added to your OpenCV University account. Congratulations. That felt good. Yeah. So we've got a ton of questions here and not a lot of time, but let's do at least a couple. You got time, Vahe, Satyams? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So over on LinkedIn, we've got a couple of good ones here. So over on LinkedIn, Mohammed would like to know, is the vision system monocular or stereo?
So that's a very good question. The data is going to have multiple cameras per scene. And it's not going to be a monocular pose estimation challenge. You're going to have multiple viewpoints. It may not be an exact stereo setup, but something close to that. And you're also going to have a separate data from a depth camera available. We just want to see, like, part of this challenge is we want to see what combination of data inputs people will use to get the best possible performance.
Yeah, so the data is multimodal also, right? It is not just monocular. It is, first of all, it is from various viewpoints, as well as from it also has multiple modalities. Like you could there's a stereo camera. There are other types of cameras as well.
Polarization camera, yeah, exactly. It's basically multi-view, multimodal input data.
Good answers for that. Thanks, folks. Also, over on LinkedIn, it looks like Sarang would like to know, will participants be able to use pre-trained model weights?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no limit on that. Participants are
why
allowed.
not.
Yeah. In fact, it is possible that many participants would start with the baseline V release, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, that totally makes sense to me. Again, on LinkedIn, we've got Shikofa would like to know, are the sizes of the objects in the challenge dynamic? Meaning, like, will they change, or will they be known shaped objects?
So these are all rigid objects. None of them are deformable, and for all the rigid objects, we have the CAD models. However, the variance in these shapes and sizes is quite large. So we have both small objects and somewhat large objects in the data set. But none of these objects change their shape or size from scene to scene.
That makes sense. Elsewhere, we've got a few more questions here. Over on Zoom, Martin would like to know, how have these will the teams have to worry at all about camera calibration or arm calibration or any of that? We discussed this a bit earlier, but maybe some folks came in late.
Yeah, all the data is pre-calibrated. The robot arm is pre-calibrated, is going to be pre-calibrated to the scene. So all the calibration data is part of the data set. Participants don't need to worry about that at all. And the calibration is quite accurate there. So it's like well sub-millimeter accuracy.
Okay, fantastic. Let me see here. Someone in the chat says they believe, yes, it's someone in the chat was asking, is it matrix symmetry aware? No, it's maximum symmetry aware. Anatoly would like to know, for restrictions on participants, is there any difference? I don't actually know the answer to this one. Is there any difference between the country of residence or their citizenship? Like, if you're a national of a country that has restrictions, but you live in a country that does not, can you participate?
Yeah, so let's say there are certain restrictions from, no, there is not. If you're living in the United States, for example, right, uh, your citizenship doesn't matter. It is the residency that determines.
Okay. Now I know the answer, so I learned something today. I learned something on every episode of OpenCV Live. Usually I do not share with the audience because it's something I messed up here. We've got a couple more people asking about deadlines and stuff. Oh, hey, Dr. Freeman. Good to see you, Dustin. My old coworker, partner in crime, Dr. Dustin Freeman, would like to know when is the challenge deadline? I'm going to go ahead and pull up the slides once more for the competition timeline because we have a couple folks asking about this. And so let me go ahead and share the screen once more. There you go. We got the timeline up on the screen for y'all. So the official submissions begin February 1st. The deadline for the first phase will be May 1st when the top 5 teams are on the leaderboard. And the leaderboard on the bin picking challenge site will be updated continuously. As soon as someone submits something, it will go through the evaluation process. And if your submission is the new top one, it will pop up there within, as soon as the submission is done, essentially. This is all an automated system. Part of the reason that we're using this new platform, Eval AI, is that it does a lot of this stuff that we've wanted to do for competitions like this, but it's been kind of difficult to build out these systems, especially for a under-resourced nonprofit such as ourselves. So yes, May 22nd is going to be a fun webinar with the top 5 teams, and then on June 10th at CVPR, we will show the final winners and let them talk a bit as part of the official CVPR workshop. Martin would also like to know here on Zoom about university teams. So folks were asking, this is the second one of these I've seen. Folks were wondering about their universities. We have the OpenCV audience, lots of students, and they want to know if their university can have more than one team. Of course, like just so long as you're not on multiple teams. if you're at University of Michigan and you got the gold team and the blue team and they don't share any members, then it's totally fine. Not worried about that at all. And with that, I think we've hit all the questions. Final thoughts today, Satya.
Well, just that, please participate. It could be a very good learning experience for people who do not know about the problem. And for people who are already in this field, this could be an amazing experience for you, being part of that leaderboard and being part of the workshop. If you guys make it. And regardless, it is being tested on a real robot. How many times do you get a chance to have that experience, right? Because these robotic arms are very expensive. It's not like you have access to them all the time. And to have your solution deployed on a real robot, that's awesome. And I really want to thank Intrinsic for all the hard work that they are putting in, and also the BOP Challenge folks and University of Hawaii, as well as the co-sponsors, Orbic. So thank you all. And, any final thoughts, Vahe?
I fully agree with what you said, Satya. I'm super excited. One additional thing I would encourage all the participants to do is try to be active in the forum and in the Slack channel. Share your ideas. If you build some tools that you may find other participants maybe useful for other participants, also share that as well. I know that this is in the end there is a prize money involved, and people try to be as close as possible toward what they do, but I think it's also a very good idea to just be open and share with other people, and also benefit from what others will share.
Right.
Yeah, because in the end, this is just one competition. Life is long if you give it away, and make some friends. Friends will last longer than this event, I promise you. So yes, thanks so much out there for watching, everybody. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to Satya. Thanks to Vahe. Thanks again. Most importantly, thanks to you for watching. Wherever you may be, have a great day, and we will catch you next Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific, same bat time, same bat channel. Take care of somebody out there. Take care of somebody else if you can. Adios.